Lesson 21: Elements of Historical Fiction. Stories that are made up are called fiction. Some fiction stories seem like they could happen in real life. Characters are the people or animals in a story. The setting is where and when the action of a story takes place. Stories have a beginning, a middle, and an ending. The writer tells you about the characters and the setting in the beginning and sets up a problem. In the middle, the characters deal with the problem and work toward a solution. In the ending, the problem is resolved one way or another and the story finishes. Follow along and listen as I read our passage home. My 10th birthday was an exciting day. We boarded the ship for America. My mom, dad, and I were leaving Poland for our new home. It was September 17, 1898. I thought that the trip would be fun. Boy, was I mistaken. Let's look at some of these story elements. The characters in the story include the narrator, which is the main character. It's the person telling the story. So the narrator and his or her mom and dad are the characters. The story takes place on September 17th, 1898, when they are leaving Poland. This is a special kind of fiction called historical fiction. It's a made-up story that takes place in a specific time in history. The writer also sets up a problem in the story. Already, we know that the trip was not fun. Let's read paragraph 2. We were steerage passengers. This meant we rode in the bottom of the boat with nearly 2,000 people. It was crowded and hot. I missed my old home immediately. My mom was seasick for the entire 2 weeks of our trip. Strangers were worried about her. In paragraph 2, the writer develops the problem in the story. The details that we learn about the trip include that they had to ride in the bottom of the boat, or it was very crowded and hot. And we also know that his mom is so sick that even strangers are worried about her. In the middle of the story, the problem develops and the characters act and react. Things start to get exciting in the middle, so let's read on. Early one morning, a rumble of excitement went through the ship. Lady Liberty loomed large in the distance. We had made it to America. Little did we know how much longer we must wait. The people above deck quickly departed for Ellis Island, but those below waited an entire day. Finally, a boat came for us. We entered a huge room and left everything we owned there. We got badges with numbers on them. Some men watched us closely as we climbed the stairs. Mom still wasn't feeling well. She could barely catch her breath. The exciting events that have happened now is that the ship reaches America. But the additional problems were that they had to wait longer. And why do you think the men watched them closely when they climbed the stairs? It was because Mom wasn't feeling well. She could barely catch her breath. And this adds to the problem in the story because people had to be healthy to enter the United States. Mom's illness could stop her from being allowed in. The most exciting part of a story often happens shortly before the ending. The ending of the story wraps up the events and tells how things worked out. Let's read the rest of the story. In the next room, we found our names on a list of people on the boat. The doctor came and quickly checked us. Though Mom was not feeling well, she passed the health test. We could go to our new home. At long last, we were led down the stairs. There stood Uncle Jacob, eagerly awaiting our arrival. I have never been so happy to come home. The most exciting part of the story is when the narrator's mother is not feeling well and must take the health exam, but she passes the exam and is allowed into the United States. Their problem is resolved when the entire family is allowed into the United States. They are greeted by the narrator's uncle. The narrator is very excited to be in their new home.